But in one day of the week full early, they came to the grave, and brought sweet-smelling spices that they had arrayed. And they found that the stone turned away from the grave. And they went in, and found not the body of Lord Jesus. And it was done, while they were astonished in thought of this thing, lo, 2 men stood beside them in shining cloth. And when they dreaded, bowed their semblance into the earth, they said to them, What seek ye him that liveth with dead men? He is not here, but is risen. Have ye mind how he spake to you when he was yet in Galilee, and said, For it behooveth man's son to be betaken into the hands of sinful men, and to be crucified, and the 3rd day to rise again. And they bethought on his words, and they went again from the grave, and told all these things to the 11, and to all others. And there was Mary Magdalene, and Joanna, and Mary of James, and other women that were with them, that said to the apostles these things. And these words were seen to them as madness, and they believed not to them. But Peter rose up and ran to the grave, and he bowed down and saw the linen clothes lying alone. And he went by himself, wondering on that was done. And lo, 2 of them went in that day into a castle that was from Jerusalem the space of 60 furlongs, by name Emmaus. And they spake together of all these things that had befallen. And it was done, the while they talked and sought by themselves. Jesus himself nighed and went with them. But their eyes were hidden, that they knew him not. And he said to them, What be these words that ye speak together wandering, and ye be sorrowful? And one, whose name was Cleopas, answered and said, Thou thyself art a pilgrim in Jerusalem, and hast thou not known what things be done in these days? To whom he said, What things? And they said to him, Of Jesus of Nazareth, that was a man prophet, mighty in work and word before God and all the people, and how the high priest and our princes betook him into condemnation of death, and crucified him. But we hoped that he should have again bought Israel. And now on all these things the 3rd day is today, that these things were done. But also some women of ours made us afeard, which before day were at the grave. When his body was not found, they came and said that they saw also a sight of angels, which said that he liveth. And some of ours went to the grave, and they found so as the women said, but they found not him. And he said to them, Ah, fools, and slow of heart to believe in all things that the prophets have spoken. Whether it behoove not Christ to suffer these things, so enter into his glory? And he began at Moses and at all the prophets, and declared to them in all scriptures that were of him. And they came nigh to the castle whither they went, and he made countenance that he would go further. And they constrained him and said, Dwell with us, for it draweth tonight, and the day is now bowed down. And he entered with them. And it was done, while he sat at the meat with them, he took bread, and blessed, and brake, and took to them. And the eyes of them were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished from their eyes. And they said together, Whether our heart was not burning in us, while he spake to us in the way, and opened to us scriptures? And they rose up in the same hour, and went again into Jerusalem, and found the 11 gathered together, and them that were with them, saying, That the Lord is risen verily, and appeared to Simon. And they told what things were done in the way, and how they knew him in breaking of bread. And while they spake these things, Jesus stood in the middle of them, and said to them, Peace to you. I am, do not ye dread. But they were afraid and aghast, and guessed them to see a spirit. And he said to them, What be ye troubled, and thoughts come up into your hearts? See ye my hands and my feet, for I myself am. Feel ye and see you, for a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as ye see that I have. When he had said this thing, he showed hands and feet to them. And yet while they believed not, and wondered for joy, he said, Have ye here anything that shall be eaten? And they proffered to him a part of a fish roasted, and a honeycomb. And when he had eaten before them, he took that left, and gave to them, and said to them, These be the words that I spake to you when I was yet with you. For it is need that all things be fulfilled, that be written in the law of Moses, and in prophets, and in psalms of me. Then he opened to them wit, that they should understand scriptures. And he said to them, For thus it is written, and thus it behoved Christ to suffer, and rise again from death the third day, and penance and remission of sins to be preached in his name to all folks, beginning at Jerusalem. And ye be witnesses of these things. And I shall send the promise of my Father into you. But sit ye in the city, till ye be clothed with virtue from on high. And he led them forth into Bethany. When his hands were lifted up, he blessed them. And it was done that while he blessed them, he departed from them, and was borne into heaven. And they worshipped and went again into Jerusalem with great joy, and were evermore in the temple, praising and blessing God.